It's all part of G4ia, presented by EB Games and Jeep.
Stay tuned. The Screensavers next.
Tonight, inside the case modding world of Gruntville.com. Plus, be the ultimate gamer by adding the best mouse to your arsenal. And Yoshi is at it again, going sleepless working on his racing addiction mod. Look at those beautiful feet. Live from Tech TV Studios in San Francisco, it's the Screensavers. Woo!
I'm Patrick Norton. And I'm Yoshi. Thanks for joining us on the Screensavers. Kevin and Sarah are on their way to Tennessee, so I'm filling in.
Yoshi D. Herrera, right?
Yoshi D. Herrera,
Yeah,
yes.
it's like, and I am Yoshi.
Well, you know, I got to go with that single name thing.
It's scary. Benefactor of the mods and protector of the tools. Today is the last day of Mod Week. We've got some pretty cool stuff we've all seen this week tonight. No different. We got one more guest modder with his fire case. And Yoshi, you have an out-of-control racing. It's sort of a... It's beyond a mod, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of...
simulator?
A simulator, an addiction, whatever you want to call it.
Yoshi's going to lose a lot of room in his living room next week.
What living room?
That's right, you're in a studio. Joshua's not going to be able to get to his bed from the front door, but, excuse me, Yoshi's not going to be able to get to his bed from the front door. But Joshua, how was E3?
E3 was awesome.
For those of us who don't know what E3 is, what is E3?
It's probably, I would say it's the world's biggest video game conference. Every piece of software, every console, every game, every gadget that relates to gaming, people show it off there and show it off to the world. And it was awesome. There was so much. I would say the interesting thing I would say it was about 60-40, 45, or 55-45 consoles.
Really?
More consoles than PC games.
What about the Mac Linux gaming contingency?
You have those operating systems, so I don't even care. But next week I'm going to show you some of the highlights, some of the biggest games that were there, and then, of course, my favorite picks, which are a little different.
Very cool. We look forward to that. Good stuff. And Fu, are you in the Nook?
I am. Joshua got to go to E3,
and you didn't.
I didn't get to go.
Well, you didn't like video games, we thought.
What? I set up the LAN party. That's my job.
Okay, well, next time.
But anyways, give me a call. The phone number is 888-989-7879. You can also email us at the Screensavers at techtv.com. And don't forget, if you have a netcam, you get a free Screensavers t-shirt, which is not so bad. Right, guys?
Free stuff for the netcam callers. Right now it's time for the tech news.
Let's get to it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Dabber worm is riding the coattails of the now infamous Sasser worm. Michigan-based firm LRUHQ, or Lurk, published an analysis online Thursday. Their findings suggest that Dabber's code actually spreads by searching for and infecting computers that have already been infected by Sasser. It's really odd. Basically, it goes in, it sees there's Sassers there, it piggybacks on some flaws in the Sasser code, erases all traces of it, and installs a backdoor. What's that mean? It means a hacker can gain control of your system and use it to distribute stuff, upload stuff to it, use it for massive denial of service attacks. Patch your system, clear out any remains of the Sasser worm. This is the first of some ugliness involving the Sasser worm, and it's only going to get worse over time. Just because the kid who wrote it's been caught doesn't mean Sasser's not going to be out there and doing nasty stuff.
Yeah, you got all these, these people being lazy with their coding and picking up on the Sasser worm instead of writing something from scratch.
I don't know. I think it's pretty clever. If you know there's 11 million systems out there, or even a million, or a few 100,000, so you can do some nasty stuff.
Not that we like it.
We like that. Well, patching stuff we like.
Like patching, don't like viruses.
So what's up next, Josh?
So X-Prize frontrunner Spaceship One launched on Thursday and reached the edge of space, making it the first private crewed vehicle to reach nearly 41 miles above the planet's surface.
Wow.
The X-Prize competition has a $10 million prize. In order to win, the team must fly a vehicle big enough for three into suborbital space, 62 miles, twice within 2 weeks. Spaceship One was 21 miles short.
That's a pretty good start, though.
Yeah.
If you saw the picture
it's
there,
farther than anyone else has come so far.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. It's actually Burt Rutan's company actually built that. And the ship you saw, the larger ship, basically flies up, launches the smaller ship, which will take off like a rocket. See that big pod in the middle there, will basically rocket off of there, the one in the lower right-hand corner. That'll make the trip into space and do the re-entry, similar to the space shuttle. If they've got a vehicle, it's designed to be launched and then land under its own power. That's going to be amazing.
It's pretty interesting stuff. I can't wait until the first team actually completes it. Then we'll start seeing some really fun stuff.
Yeah, I bet it happens this year. Speaking of happening this year, Yahoo announced yesterday that it would be upgrading from 4 megs to 100 megs for their free email members. They deny that it had anything to do with the announcement of Google's new Gmail services, which promises to provide 1 gig of free space. It's in beta right now. Premium subscribers to Yahoo Mail, who currently pay between $20 and $50 annually for 20 megabytes to 100 megabytes of space, will receive virtually unlimited capacity, which I think is PR speak for a gigabyte of storage, should Google actually
came up with that idea.
You know what? It'll be interesting to see. Google's in beta on the Gmail, but we don't know if it's going to become a pay-for product, if it's going to be free. It's going to be interesting to see.
I would think
when
with a gigabyte, that's a lot of space. It'll probably become a pay-for, in my opinion, down the road.
We'll find out. And Yahoo apparently is watching with bated breath to see what Google does with their email service. That's good, though. So in theory, if Gmail ships and Yahoo backs up what they've done, I'll get virtually unlimited storage on my 25-megabyte account.
True, and I'll have to open one because I actually don't use Yahoo anymore because it was just filled with spam. I let it go.
Just like Hotmail?
Just like Hotmail.
See, I really found they're pretty good at keeping spam out.
No, I gave up. I haven't checked my Yahoo Mail in probably a year.
They probably closed it.
They probably did.
Andrew joins us on the Tech TV. Should we thank each other for reading the news?
Sure.
Thank you, Yoshi.
Thanks, Pat.
On the Tech TV network from Honolulu, Hawaii. Thanks for joining us, Andrew.
Hi.
Hey, Andrew.
How you doing, man?
I'm good.
We gotta pick up the energy. Are you excited? Are you thrilled? Do you have a
Just a
great
little tired.
question for us?
Yes.
What's your question?
Yeah, I'm looking to get a gig of RAM, and I would like to know what would be compatible with the AMD 64.
Well, there's like 9 different kinds of memory that are compatible with the AMD 64. Which, do you know what motherboard you're running?
The A530N HP Pavilion.
Oh, you're running. Okay, so let me say. First of all, let's take a look. Right, we got the AMD Athlon webpage up here. It's basically depending on how the memory's set up. You could have PC 3200, 2700, 2100, or PC 1600, depending on what motherboard you're running and how you're running the processor. Right. What you need to do, young Jedi, is you're going to go over to something like Kingston, right? And you're going to go into memory search, and you're going to go down here to HP. I'm assuming, of course, you haven't done this already, right?
No.
Okay, so we're going to go to Hewlett-Packard, and we're going to go to Find. And which model number is that again?
A530N.
A530N. Yeah, everyone have one of those moments where you realize that, like, HP makes a lot of systems.
They like using the
okay,
same
we're up
letters.
to A340, A400, A475.
I really
What?
like scrolling through text, too. It's nice and fun.
So where is it again? A530?
Yes.
People at home are going, this is amazing. I never knew they could do this on
30N,
television.
A530N.
30N. We like that. You're telling me, the person, my headphones telling me.
Well, make sure you got it right.
Next thing it's going to come up in a couple seconds. It's going to tell us exactly what kind of memory you can load into your system. How much memory do you have in it now?
512.
512. So basically, you could probably drop in a second 512 megabyte module, and there you have it. Basically, they'll give you the exact, along with their part numbers. What they'll also do is, if you click over here, you can find out exactly what it is. AMD Athlon 64, 3200, PCI, and it should give you the memory speed that's running inside of there. So, whoops, we don't need the Government Services Administration schedule unless you're buying for the feds.
You can also go to Crucial or other places like that.
Basically, and that's the nice thing, is all the memory companies, Andrew, if you have a system that was pre-made for you, if you bought it from Dell or from anybody else, any of the major memory manufacturers is going to have a search thing. It'll tell you exactly what memory to look for. If you have your own motherboard, you can find the listings of the motherboard manufacturer to tell you what kind of memory you can use in the system. But basically, yeah, it's you're good to go. Okay, bud?
Okay.
Good luck, man.
Good luck.
He doesn't sound very excited.
I guess memory is just not too exciting for some people.
We tried, Andrew.
Hey, I like memory. More, better, bigger.
It's a good thing. Do we have the T-shirt? The example T-shirt. I can see you eagerly waiting to throw that at me. This is the T-shirt that Andrew won. Hopefully that will render him some excitement.
Oh, he's getting one of the old school ones.
Yeah, we got the old school ones.
Those are in short
Hawaiian
supply.
lifestyle. We're just getting started. Yoshi's got a sweet little mod for you. And up next, we're going to check out modder John Crump's work and get a look at case modding and a community created called Gruntville. It's coming up when the Screensavers continues. I don't know about you, but that exploding Mod Week graphic scares me. Right now, though, Yoshi has a website about his passion for modding. He's not the only one with a passion for modding, created a website. Our next guest, John Krump, founded the popular mod website, Gruntville.com, and joins us now to show off, well, you can see the beginning of one of his mods along with his website. Welcome to the Screensavers, John. You're one of Yoshi's heroes. How did you start modding?
I started modding basically on an upgrade, playing games, love Unreal Tournament, and decided I wanted my case to look a little bit different.
So you were LAN partying, had to show off a little bit.
Exactly. From there, I just kind of caught a bug, and actually Grunt was my old dog, and he passed away, and I decided to do a theme case, and Grunt the case came around, and of questions came from out of the woodwork and decided to start a forum, and a couple of years later, the site's grown to what it is today.
You made a commemorative grill here of Grunt that you brought in for us.
That is correct.
To show off. So that's him immortalized in fan.
And stainless steel and laser cutting.
Very
We
nice.
like it. Grunt was that your dog?
Yeah, he was an English bulldog, old college buddy of mine.
Very cool.
So what did you bring for us today?
This is Fire. This is a new thing we're doing on the site called group theme mods. Basically, we take a topic such as the 7 deadly sins. This one is from the Elements. And the members of the forums just pick a mod they want to do. One of the ones that's cracking me up now is Sloth. I think there's some remote cup holders coming in that one.
Is that part of like the 7 deadly sins,
It is.
or the fuzzy, scary, slow-moving animal?
It is. There's also the 4 horsemen going, and there's places available too. So if there's modders out there, they can join in and say they want to do one.
Are you running into problems with other people going, hey, I want to do Fire too, you know?
I haven't yet. Actually, I came up with a flame design prior to this one, and somebody stole it the day I posted it, so I changed the design, but it worked out for the better. I like these a lot better.
Well, they weren't being original anyway. You got to refine it a little bit.
Exactly. I actually hand drew these flames. I didn't do the paint. There's a guy in Kansas City did all the paint on the case. It's just a phenomenal job.
What'd you do to cut out the shape of the flame?
Used a jigsaw for the most of the shape, and then used a Dremel to shape it and sand it and finalize the design.
Very cool.
Very cool.
We went with the Innovatec cooling system in it and wrapped some silk around the radiator,
I don't know
the
if you can see the
fans.
silk flapping in the background there.
And
That gives it the nice motion effect.
You
yeah,
should
it
hold up
does.
your
It
hands.
makes-
What are you using for dye in there? In
the pink fingers.
Yeah.
This stuff.
It's actually a red powder, and it is actually UV reactive. There's not enough UV light in it now to make it really shine, but there will be.
We understand the UPS guys were playing kickball with this before they dropped it off.
Yeah, actually I did. It has a couple super glued pieces now, but nothing was hurt major.
Hey, thanks, Brown Truck.
Yeah, exactly. One of the other things is the modular power supply in these is fantastic. Frozen CPU threw that out. Basically, it comes pre-sleeved.
Okay.
And you can just order your cables to any length. You can buy a power supply they have, or actually send them your own.
So you spec it out, you say, hey, I want 20-inch cables on there or 4-inch cables.
Exactly.
That's
You can give
amazing.
exact
So that's why it
measurements
has
and they'll sleeve
the
it to
orange cables under there. Basically, so the power supply custom ordered, and then you actually pick the color of the cables on that?
And the heat shrink.
That's awesome.
And this one's a PC power and cooling. You can get any brand you like.
Nice.
Is that expensive or?
No, they're really reasonable. Normally like $40-50 more than a normal PSU.
Okay.
What you'd spend in sleeving anyway.
Yeah. And you save the time.
Exactly.
Why reinvent the wheel, right? So when did you start Gruntville?
Gruntville started a little over, right at 2 years ago, about 2 years and a week ago. We started up just as a forum. Now it's grown to a large hardware review site. We also do a lot of giveaways. Right now we have one of our great sponsors, MNPC Tech, threw up a fantastic Gruntville-themed case, and that's going away to one of our readers this month. The forums are really active. We hang around in the work log section a lot. It gives us a lot of ideas.
Yeah, I browsed through there once or twice, looking for ideas and inspiration.
Yeah, there's a lot in there.
How did Gruntville name come about? I think it has something to do with your dog
It
here,
does.
but
Grunt was known for knocking beers over at parties we had. And,
Grunt the bulldog.
Grunt the dog. And sooner or later it became Grunt Man because I was told I could drink as much beer as he could. And then we did the Grunt the Case, which was probably my most popular mod I've done. Just flooded me with emails and questions of how'd you do this, how'd you do that, and so I started the forums.
Very cool.
From there it was just crazy. It grew like a weed.
Very nice.
so I hear you have a mod on there that you want to put some attention to that
I do.
you think people
It's,
need to see.
It's definitely one of my favorites right now. The modder is Hobbs, and he's not real well known, but I'm sure he will be once this mod's complete, if that ever happens. He's been working on it about a year now. The mod is Stormbringer, based on the novel. Basically, it's still in its halfway done stage.
You can see sort of the design cues coming in now.
His woodworking skills are phenomenal. These mesh channels here are actually going to be to hide wires, and they'll be lit up with red LEDs all throughout it.
Oh, really?
The attention
cool.
to detail is phenomenal.
And what is this?
That is the PSU cover. The PSU cover on it, he's done this 3 times now because he didn't like the designs. He's somewhat of a perfectionist. First he did styrofoam claws, moved on to something else, and now he's actually done these, molded them himself, similar to Crimson Sky's work. But the power supply has a lot of detail. Modders mesh in between. There's actually a ruby ring on one of the claws, and it all goes with the theme of the novel.
Very
it's
cool.
Phenomenal work.
Very cool. Anyone other than Hobbs that you think people should check out that have some mad skills?
Definitely. You'll definitely want to check out Mashy, Corrugated, Crimson Sky, Dick Nervous, The Chronic. There's a ton of them out there.
Here's a dumb question. Why don't any modders use like their normal people names? Is it all because of the registration on the website? Is that all named under?
Everybody uses their nickname. Actually, I've had Gruntman for quite a while, and Hobbs is just a fan of Calvin and Hobbs, so gives you some personality without, I guess, throwing out your personal information.
Look me up.
Exactly. Oh, you like my case? Here's my address. You know.
Yeah, that might not be a good idea all the time.
Exactly.
Especially corrugated with that big heavy metal project. A little pricey there.
Yeah, well, at least you don't have to worry about anybody running away with that one.
True. Unless they find the remote.
Maybe.
So what's the next? What's your next modding project going to be, John?
Actually, there's some more work on this one I want to do. I want to throw a little bit more industrial feel to it. I'll have some mesh in the window, a little bit more work to the front, some custom designed fan grills. Then my next mod after this will probably be a small form factor. Cool. This is a land rig, but it does weigh in probably 50, 60 pounds, so
it's a bit
I won't be
much to
changing
carry
seats
in.
once I get there.
It's very
Cool. Thanks for coming on, John.
Thanks for having me. It was great.
That was fellow modder and founder of Gruntville.com, John Krump.
Good stuff, John. Ladies and gentlemen, still to come, Yoshi's latest extreme mod. You want a hint? Goes 200 miles an hour while standing still while he's sitting in it. Plus, up next, find out if your motherboards are up to the snuff for a LAN party. It's coming up when the Screensavers continues. Peyton joins me on the phone from Dallas, Texas. How you doing, Peyton?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Hey, Pam, doing good.
How can we help you today?
Has to be the best show on earth.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Yep.
We'll not answer any question you want. Uh-oh. We've lost it.
Well, my friends and I are having a LAN party coming up in a couple of days here, and we've been looking through the prize section in our newspaper for the excellent computer deals that they have.
I noticed how you kind of put the quotations around excellent computer deals. So you guys actually have a Fry's computer in Dallas?
What now?
Did you say it's a Fry's computer?
No, I'm just they have a Fry's insert in our paper that has all the deals on it.
Right.
Yeah.
So, no, because we have Fry's like here in California, and they're legendary for having like the world's meanest salespeople, and they're always trying to push stuff on.
Really
you.
bad customer service.
Yeah. They also is the only place you can buy heat shrink tubing on a Sunday afternoon, but it's a really strange store. So anyhow, sorry, a lot of people don't have like all in the Northeast, like nobody knows what I'm talking about.
They've lost the question. They're like, what was the question?
Anyhow,
Get on with it!
sorry, Peyton.
There's a few motherboards that on there that I noticed, and it said LAN computer motherboard, and I got really confused. And it had all these what looked like Ethernet ports that you plug Ethernet cables into, but it was the motherboard that confused me. So I was wondering if there's computers specifically for LAN. I mean, I know there is, but ones that are just mobile, but ones that can't connect to the internet, just
Well, they might have been saying it has integrated LAN, or they might have been trying to use the catchphrase LAN party and just sell you on it because you're fond of LAN parties.
Yeah, we're that one, like I think it's DFI. I know it's DFI that makes one that's like the LAN Party Pro 875, right? That's what the box looks like.
Hey, it's a cool graphic. It must be fast,
So it's actually, oddly enough, it's actually not a bad motherboard, but it sounds like when they say like LAN computer, do they say if it's an ATX motherboard factor or is it designed for like rack mount systems? Do they give you any more information?
It said ATX, but
ATX.
I mean, it was about $150, and it just really confused me because I guess there's some computers where you plug an Ethernet cable into the back of it, but I'm just wondering if there's computers like that, and what would be the best deal?
Depends on basically, first you're going to choose your processor, right? Whether you're going to use an Intel or an AMD processor. Next thing you're going to decide is what you want. Whichever way you go, whether Intel or AMD, there are tons of motherboards now that include, as Yoshi was saying, integrated LAN or integrated Ethernet ports, anywhere from 10100 all the way up to gigabit Ethernet right on the motherboard. Integrated audio on the motherboard. You generally don't want, if you're doing gaming, you generally don't want your graphics on the motherboard, right? Because you're going to want to. It's generally really slow, really bad, not good 3D graphics. You're going to want something with at least an AGP slot. So I would sit down. I'd figure out how much money I had for a processor. I'd figure out I want 512 megabytes to a gigabyte of RAM and the best graphics card I can afford. We did a $500 PC. You could probably soup up the graphics a little farther from that. But yeah, one of the things you want to watch out for, Peyton, and you already kind of tuned on to this, is people will claim a lot of weird stuff in the advertisements, and a lot of times, basically, HardOCP.com is a great place for motherboard reviews. Tom's Hardware is a good place to go, and Antec is a good place to go. See what they have to say about the performance of their motherboards and the features. For a LAN party machine, all you need is, if you've got audio and you've got, Ethernet on the motherboard, that's great. That means you don't have to buy a separate audio card. You don't have to buy a separate Ethernet card. So for, like $100, $120 in the motherboard, you can have everything you need integrated into it except for the graphics. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about whether or not it says LAN party. If it says LAN computer, the only thing I can think is if it has like multiple Ethernet ports, that can be nice because then you can run one, you can basically run one for your game and run the game server off of another one. But it sounds like if you're attending somebody else's LAN party, just get a nice basic motherboard, that's got the onboard LAN, Ethernet, and has onboard audio. You should be just fine.
Chipset, and if you want dual channel, make sure you get some of the dual channel.
Right. Should we explain what dual channel is?
That's next one.
Yeah. Check out hardocp.com. They've got some great reviews. We'll put up a link to the $500 PC. That's a good PC to emulate for an inexpensive gaming system. You should be just fine, Peyton. All right, man. Good stuff. Yep. Here's Dan. He's got some information on where Kevin and Sarah are.
That's right. They've left for somewhere. Let's see. If you're close to or you're visiting Tennessee this weekend, stop by our Digital Digs Roadshow. As a bonus, you get to meet Kevin and Sarah because they're going to be right around the Nashville area. Now, the Roadshow hits the Cool Springs Gallery in Hex Court in Franklin, Tennessee this weekend, May 15th and 16th, and the event runs from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturday and noon to 5 on Sunday. Now, for more information to learn about all the coast-to-coast stops at the Roadshow, go to techtv.com/digitaldigs. And don't forget to check out their moblogs at kevinrose.com and also check out saralane.com. They're going to put up their moblog pictures. So, don't go anywhere. Which mouse is the best for gaming? Our lab rats have all the answers to what you're thinking. But after the break, Yoshi's Mod. It's dope. You want it. It's coming up. All that when the Screensavers continues.
Welcome back to Screensavers. I'm Yoshi.
And I'm Patrick Norton. Coming up in this half hour, we have a number of gaming mice. We're going to tell you whether or not a gaming mouse is any better for gaming. And later on, we're taking another live call. Right now, though, well, some of us are hooked on Far Cry, some on Evercrack. Yoshi's video game genre of choice is racing car simulation. So it should be no surprise that Yoshi decided to build himself a hardcore racing sim chassis. I think we should show this. Yoshi, why did you build this? I don't know if you can see this whole thing at home, folks. This is like 8 feet long. It's built out of steel. He's got 3 monitors hanging off of it. What were you thinking?
I had like the little small chassis at first. I did the whole, I'm going to set up some like bricks in my house and put a monitor up above so it's close. And I'm like, that's just, that was a little ghetto for me. I wanted to take it up a notch, so I wanted a full-on system.
And let's run from back to front. What's all built into this thing?
Well, basically, of course, we have to have a computer. So I have the Monarch computer systems, the Hornet, which is an Athlon 64 system. I wanted something small that would integrate. So I wanted everything to be attached to it as much as I could. This amp right here is actually powering my Clark Synthesis transducer, which we'll show you in a second.
That's the butt kicker.
Yeah, so I got 400 watts going just to the butt kicker.
We'll explain the butt kicker part in a second.
And of course, you got to have an amp for your speaker, so I contacted Denon, got their AVR 5003 reference series flagship, blah, blah, blah.
Could you gone a little overkill on the amplifier?
I could have. I think I have about 20 connections back there, and I'm using one.
It's an amazing amplifier, but it's like, I know people who got 10 grand into a home theater that don't have that much power.
I want to test that out in a home theater environment, too, as well, down the road.
You went for a racing seat.
I went for a racing seat from Corbeau. I wanted that feel, give you that tucked in, kind of almost even claustrophobic feel, but that's part of racing.
Now show the butt kicker. That's like the best part.
Now, if you go down here on the bottom of it, right here, that's a 400-watt transducer, and what that does is it just basically shakes with the bass. It's off the sub channel, so it gives you that immersive tactile sound, as they say.
I'd try to lift the sub up, but I'd probably give myself a hernia. Is this a 15-inch sub?
That's a 15-inch RSW 15 sub from Klipsch. It's putting out about 2,500 watts, so, we got some power there.
Nomex?
Nomex, of course. Nomex shoes, Nomex gloves.
You're going for the realistic experience.
Well, those are actually my real driving gloves and helmet and all that good stuff.
Is that like a paddle steering wheel on there?
That is a paddle steering wheel. The steering wheel and the pedals are from BRD Simulations, courtesy of Trinity Racing. And basically, they're a company out of England that makes some just really, really high-end pedals. The pedals are the Speed 7 series, and it's the Pro V2 wheel. And, if you're looking for the ultimate take no prisoners in accurate pedals and steering wheels, this is what it's at right now.
What's the set of steering wheel and pedals like? I mean, they're amazing.
You
it's like
get about $800 a set.
Wow.
So you're not getting a little, $100 set from CompUSA.
The monitors?
The monitors are from 9X Media. These are their 21-inch series. They sell them like 3, 4, 10, 16. They'll do whatever configuration you want. I actually have a set of 30s on the way, so we'll have to do an upgrade when we have the 30s coming down here.
How did you build
speakers,
this?
of course, are the Cinema 8s from Clips also.
Is this drawn over mandrel steel, or is it like chrome moly?
It's tube steel. It's 1 3/4 inch. It's a real thin wall, kind of like exhaust tubing, because I wanted these light enough to work with. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to lift the thing when I needed to, do a weld on the bottom or drill it out. Mix some diamond plate in, because I felt it accented it. Did that on the floor. Other than that, it was a lot of cutting. It was a lot of bandsawing, which I actually bought a metal bandsaw for this project.
Because there's got to be like 30 joints in here. So we actually have the stills up.
Yeah, the first still here, that's, the seat had to go in my car for a while with the 5-point harness just to test and make sure it was an acceptable seat for my, particular application.
That's awesome.
There's my pile of steel as it started. You can see covered in rust. It was just, second steel, so it's nice and cheap. I started by making the bracket for the seat, which is just square stock. And then I kind of started laying out the tubing in the pattern that I was going to have. I did it all ad hoc. I didn't follow my normal rules.
I was going to say, like Yoshi's rule of modding is to figure out what you're doing first.
So that's why I was like sitting in the seat there, and I'd sit in it, and I'd measure it, and I'd prop things up, tack it in place, cut.
Is that an arc welder we saw in that last picture?
That was an arc. It's a MIG welder.
Oh, it is a MIG welder.
It's gasless. It's not a gas shielded. That's you can see the back of the shelf starting to come together there, and that's so when my welder getting a little better as it's going on in the process.
This is your first welding project,
My very first welding project.
Wow.
Actually, I kind of taught myself through reading online and talking to a few people that knew, but
very cool.
All very stuff. And of
bringing
course,
it to here.
I got a lot of really weird looks driving down the freeway with this strapped to the roof of my car.
You think?
Yeah, just a couple.
What was the biggest problem you ran into in designing
The biggest problem was the fact that I did it seat of the pants. I had to remake about 4 or 5 sections of it completely and cut it off, re-weld it. Didn't cut off well. Okay, cut it all off and start over.
It's like fabbing a roll cage.
Yeah, I'd recommend really mock it up at least first before you start going straight to metal.
And the monitors have been a little bit of a problem? Not the monitors,
but
getting the video
Getting the video. I wanted the video to span all 3 monitors. I wasn't able to get one of the Matrox Parhelia cards in time, which do work with some of the games that way. So I was trying to, NVIDIA 5950 and a PCI FX52. It just, they work great, but they don't span the game across all 3. So I'm going to have to, if anyone has any tips on how to get those to work that way, I'd greatly appreciate them. Other than that, I'm going to have to maybe go to one of the Matrox cards so I can have my immersive experience.
Yoshi, you're going to climb in and do this. We're going to tell people where to find us. To get the whole scoop on Yoshi's Racing Sim Madness, head on over to thescreensavers.com. He's going to fire up the beast. Right now, though, we're going to check in with Leo over at the bench. He's got a quick tip for us. Leo?
Hey, I want to tell you about Squid today. No, not calamari, although I like calamari. This is Squid, the web proxy cache, a program that comes with most distributions of Linux. It's used by internet service providers and big network managers to speed up internet access. You can use it on your system, too. Squid is a web proxy cache. I know you're familiar with the idea of a browser cache. The idea is it saves data like pictures and heavy data from websites that you visit, and if you go back to that site and it hasn't changed, it just loads it from the hard drive instead of trying to download it again over the internet. That could speed your browsing up by 2 or 3 times, really make a big difference. Well, Squid does that for a whole network. And you'll benefit because everybody who surfs, every page that's gone to by everybody on the network is saved on a Squid cache. So if somebody goes to one site and you go there later, you'll get there very much more quickly. It's a really great thing. Actually, it does a lot more. The nice thing about Squid is you probably already have it if you have Linux. All you have to do is type where is Squid, and your Linux box will tell you where Squid's stored, usually in the user sbin library. You can look at the Squid configuration file by going to etc squid and editing it. I'm going to use vim to edit squid.conf. The nice thing about Squid is you don't really have to modify the configuration file. The only thing you might want to change is the port that it uses. It uses by default 3123. You might want to change that to 8080. That's kind of more standard proxy port. Then, or 3128, I guess is what it uses. And then once you've done that, you start Squid up, and you'll have to point your browsers to use Squid. I've got a link to an automatic JavaScript configuration utility that'll do that. Once the browsers are using that proxy server, you're going to see a big improvement on your network across the board. But that's not all Squid does. Next time, I'm going to show you how you can use Squid to block sites and to slow down that guy who's hogging all your bandwidth down the hall. We'll show you all that next time. Back to you guys.
Stay where you are. We're going to be answering more of your tough questions with another live call. But up next, it's a 7-mouse shootout. Find out which gaming mouse is right for you from 15 to who knows how much when the Screensavers continues. amazing or what? Right now it's time to check with the fine folks over at Tech Live to see what's coming up tonight.
Well, let's talk about TV Guide Gone Wild. Reviews of your favorite shows written with an edge. Tonight on Tech Live, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to be hanging out with couch potatoes, hired to write ruthless recaps of TV's hottest shows. Can you imagine that? For a website called Television Without Pity. You may have heard of it, but now you're going to see it.
It's an awesome website.
Oh, you've been there before, Patrick.
Oh, once or twice.
You've written for that before.
No, but you know what? I can always aspire to.
I'm sure you got some buttes in there.
Is that on Tech Live tonight?
Yeah, oddly enough, when Tech Live is...
right after the screensavers.
Oddly enough, right after the screensavers.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the legend, Chris Leary, Tech Live tonight, right
Thanks,
after
guys.
this show.
All right.
Thanks, Chris. Right now, let's check in with Joshua. He's got some gaming mice.
That's right. No longer does the avid gamer use standard phones to play. We all know that. There's gaming monitors and keyboards and mouse pads and, of course, mice. So we have technical analyst and our favorite lab rat, my favorite lab rat, here to explain what sets these apart from a regular mouse.
Hey, how are you?
So you were at E3 all week. I was at E3 all week, so we've been talking gaming and been infused with games. So let's talk about gaming mice.
Okay.
Number one.
Well, if you want we're just going to cut right to the chase. What is the best optical mouse that I've ever held? It's Logitech's new MX510. This little baby right here. It's an update to their 500, the MX500 series, and which is one I currently own. And I've got to say the main improvement they did was increase the power of the imager, how fast it actually takes images of the surface, which they measure in megapixels, much like a camera. And what they've done is bump it up about another megapixel per second over the 510. What that does for you, it means it basically tracks as fast as you can move your hand, and if you want to do a quick 180 or something like that, it's not going to suddenly jump the mouse to the top or the bottom of the screen, which usually if you flick a mouse that can't handle fast movements, it'll usually dive the cursor to the top or the bottom, which means you're looking up at the sky or looking down at your feet. And that's a dead giveaway of slow imaging.
So that kind of stuff, is that how a regular mouse is going to differ from a gaming mouse thing?
Definitely. It's not only should it be able to keep up with your hand, but it should be comfortable too, as well as offering the buttons you like, either an ambidextrous design if you're left or right-handed, or maybe like some additional features, like you have to have a thumb button for finding.
Well, that's one thing. Like some mice are real small in my hand, or they don't feel right, or they have a weird bulge in the wrong place.
Everyone's different. It really comes down to you actually putting your hand on a pointing device. You got to make sure it fits. It's just like like shoes.
Right.
That's why it's so hard to buy shoes over.
And if they just had gaming shoes. What's the next one?
Next one, actually, if you needed an ambidextrous design, and Logitech, this is also one of their MX series. That's the image series. This is the 310 model. A little bit cheaper, about $20 cheaper, and it's ambidextrous, like I said. And it also includes a thumb button on either side. A little bit lighter than the 510 model, and it also offers a pretty nice. It doesn't have the comfortable rubberized grips that the 510 model does, but for good value and the ambidextrous, where you can use left or right hand just as easy, it works just great.
Now, one thing that's nice about these mice that have the buttons on the side is a lot of the games take advantage of all the extra buttons on a mouse.
Definitely, and that's something we should probably talk about too as drivers. One way or another, for gaming, I say don't bother with the drivers. When you just plug any USB mouse into a computer, it'll use the built-in Windows support, and that basically assigns mouse buttons 1 through however many are on there as button 1, button 2, button 3, and just about every game will support that nowadays, so you can bind things individually. What happens is when you install software, it'll actually reconfigure it to how the software wants the button to be.
So we had that problem with the LAN party machines.
So that button 5 would suddenly become, say, left keyboard shift, which the game was already using that for something else in the first place, and suddenly it just becomes very difficult to remap everything the way you wanted it, and it's just painful. So if you are a gamer, I say avoid it. Hopefully they'll just put a switch in the driver so you can just go back and forth. It's because some people in like office applications and productivity suites, it's nice to have all the additional features for like forward and backward on a web page or bring up my current application.
But for gaming, you don't need
But for gaming, nah.
This mouse.
Actually, let's...
Yes.
Microsoft's latest optical design, the Intel Mouse Explorer 4.0. Also, like Logitech, their imaging hardware is fast enough to keep up to your hand. Sweet, sweet mouse, very comfortable, and it has this incredible scroll wheel.
That's a great wheel.
Which it is great because it's completely smooth. There's no ratcheting action, and it tilts left and right. So for side-scrolling through documents.
But it doesn't have ratcheting, so like if you're skipping through guns or something, it would be hard to...
Therein lies the big problem. For games like Unreal Tournament 2004, as you try to switch a weapon, if you use the scroll wheel to switch weapons, you'll find that you'll push it forward a little bit, nothing might happen, then you push it forward a little more, and then suddenly it skips 2 or 3. And after about 2 or 3 times, you're just like, okay, I just can't do it. And the drivers don't allow you to bind the left and right, the scroll sideways to specific buttons either, so you couldn't even do it in that fashion as well.
Awesome
mouse for everything else.
Got to move you along.
Okay.
You know too much, Robert. You just want to shut up and keep going.
Patrick Gordon clued me in. It's like, hey, look, for $20 you can get Microsoft's regular optical scroll wheel mouse. Offers almost identical performance to the regular one, but it includes, hey, the ratcheting motion that you're custom and love. And you can find it for less than $20.
All these are optical so far.
Yeah. ball
Don't need
mice,
a
there
ball
are a
mouse
few
anymore.
out there that are worth maybe checking out if you're into it. You know, it's a preference thing, but in this day and age, it's just easy. You don't have to deal with the cleaning issues. You don't have to open it up and scrape them out.
Right.
There's less wear and tear, and honestly, unless the buttons break, they should last forever.
Right.
Yeah.
What's this weird one?
This is something a company in Berkeley sent me. You can check it out at gamingmouse.com.
Figures, those hippies out there making,
but you know
making
what?
those weird mice.
This one's arguably the most unique. First, it's the way you hold it. It's the RTR 720. And the key is that it's basically made to be held with two fingers like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's three hypersensitive buttons along the side where this finger is right here. And with 5,000 actuation, which is not a lot of space, it's really just a little quick squeeze right there. And there's actually, you can see where that little red dot is, the kind of mark where the...
So you'd hold it and slide it around.
Yeah, it's basically you're working it like that, and you leave one finger up on top. Highly programmable, customizable. Cool. They include all the software you need to not only bind button presses, but button releases, scripted functions, macros, things like that. Awesome. If you are tired of large mice, every mouse seems too large for you, it's not sensitive enough.
That might be the one.
That is something worth checking out.
What about this little sleek-looking one here?
The Razer's latest optical. It is most people are familiar with their boomer mice, which are their big ball mice. Up to 2,000, 2,100 DPI in that case. This is a 1,000 DPI optical mouse. Pretty good, but I just didn't find it could keep up with very quick hand movements. Overall, I like the shape. It's very lightweight. It's ambidextrous. Only has the regular two buttons in the scroll wheel, and there's no thumb buttons. If that's important to you, you'd probably want to look elsewhere.
And then we got this last one, just for fun. Yoshi modded a mouse and put a fan in it a while back. This is an actual production.
Nyko's famous for their airflow controllers. This is their version of mouse that contains a little fan inside that blows out. Keeps your hand cool, and it's adjustable through different fan speeds. $15 too, which is
that's nothing for a little fun little mouse.
Not at all.
But your
Works
favorite
really well.
is the maroon bugger down there on the end.
High performance, holographic red colored MX510. It comes in a couple different colors, but for comfort, performance, speed, features, it's hard to beat.
Cool. We're gonna have to have you do a roundup of gaming keyboards.
Sure.
For us sometime.
I have it.
That's the next one.
You've got $15.
Okay, gotta be quiet. Quit talking. For a link to Robert's article, go to the screensavers.com. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Jasper and Robert. Coming up after the break, find out how to mod your cable box, or can you? We're going to talk about that right after these messages. Be sure to catch Monday's show. Motorsaw Griffin is stopped by with some of his amazing inventions. Make sure you get all the data on your hard drive unrecoverable before you sell your computer. Plus, Kevin compares performance of Windows XP on an Apple PowerBook compared to a Windows PC running Windows XP. It's all coming up on Monday's show. Lots of good stuff. Right now, Lewis joins us on the phone from Long Beach, California. Hey, Lewis.
What's up?
Hey.
Oh, hi. Yeah. I wanted to know if I could mod my cable box out to the other channels.
So you want to get the channels you're not paying for. Is this what you're asking?
Yeah.
So you want to know how to mod your cable box with a descrambler?
Yeah.
Do you know, we are a cable television program, and you know, the only thing that's more likely to get us thrown into jail than telling you how to crack DVDs is probably telling you how to descramble the coded signals on your system. However, Lewis, have you been on Google lately?
Yeah.
I bet. With some careful searching, you can figure out some great ways to hack cable service and probably go to jail in the process, depending on how on top of it your local cable provider is.
So it depends upon how ambitious you are, though.
Yeah, or how ambitious they are. I mean, basically what you're talking about doing, Lewis, is theft of service. It's not uncommon. I've known a number of individuals who've thrown $20 to the cable guy to get stuff accidentally turned on. Do yourself a favor. Don't do it, man. It's bad karma, and it's also likely to get yourself in big trouble with your local cable company. They have bigger lawyers than you do. He hung up on us.
Oh, no.
Yeah, you're like, well, I didn't get any. Anyhow, seriously, man. Pay the money. Get together with your friends. Good luck. Uh-oh. Stay where you are. Assuming we're still here, we're going to check our inbox and see what's on your minds. Coming up when the Screensavers continue. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for emails. What you got, Boo? Boo?
Hi. Time for some final emails, huh, fellas?
Yeah.
Okay, this female wants to know, help! I just got this HP for Mother's Day, and how can I protect it and me from the internet bad guys?
Oh, man. Internet bad guys. You want to put a firewall on it. If you have a broadband connection, we highly recommend getting something like a Linksys router, a real simple box. If not, We have some links to free firewalls up on the website, and you also want to run an antivirus. AVG's antivirus from Grisoft, GRISOFT.com, is a great one for free. If you get something like Norton Antivirus, make sure you update it because they've been having some critical updates that need to be in place if it's going to actually protect your system.
Yeah, real quick. John Krump wanted us to thank his senior editors, Dick Nervous and Sky, the best female modder in the world.
Props to them for keeping his website up. It's a good thing.
Do we have time for more?
Sure.
Okay. This is definitely a Yoshi question if I've ever heard one. I'm building a new PC, and I'd like to make it as quiet as possible. I want to go serial ATA. What do you suggest?
Ooh, quiet serial ATA drives.
I like the Seagate, the Barracuda 5s.
Is that the one with like the serial bearing drives, or the?
Yeah, they're the liquid bearing drives, and they also have the foam on the bottom, helps keep the sound a little
They're
deader.
really quiet.
You might want to get a cage that actually suspends the drive. That's a lot of the noise comes from the drive making noise, going to the metal, and not just transmitting through the side panels. So.
You know, the funny thing is, if you haven't bought a drive in a couple of years, almost all hard drives, even the 10,000 RPM Raptors, are much quieter than they used to be in the past. But fluid bearing. He's getting ready to go play with the racing game.
I'm just jonesing for it.
Do we have time for one more question?
Sure do. Okay, this student at UC Davis, they have an unencrypted network out there. Beware, UC Davis students. Anyways, so he wants to know if he goes onto a banking site, are the packets going to be able to? Are they going to be able to? Are they going to be captured?
Okay, so like. You got a network, right? Basically, if you're running over a Wi-Fi network, what's happened is the connection is between your browser and the secure server at the other end, right? So you're already running over an open network if it's running over the internet somewhere between UC Davis and your bank. Trust me, it is. As long as you got the little lock in the corner, that means you've got the security turned on, and you have a secure connection between you and whoever you're running that connection with. Yoshi, I think you've waited long enough.
Okay,
thank you.
I'm going over.
He's going to sprint over. We're going to thank.
Got a race. We
want to thank everybody on the screensavers. We want to thank John from Gruntville for coming out here. And Yoshi, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the volume turned down because otherwise this thing would probably do some damage. Thanks again to John Krump and Robert Hamm. We'll see you next time. Have a great night.